Hello viewers, welcome to my channel Since 360 Investor. In today's video, let's take a look at a list from earlier this year. Actually, it will be from the first full week ending this year. And this is in the trader segment. And we're going to take a look at a screen of the day. So this list is what was reviewed as of January 8th this year. I want to take a look at the 6-month performance of this selection. And before we begin, word on the disclaimers: channel's not providing financial advice. Please pause, read through this, and then continue. Thank you. Okay, so without much further ado, so before I get into the list, so these are the tickers if you just want to take a quick down those. But the background to this is that this list is derived from a weekly crowdsourced process where crowd members share their watch lists on a weekly basis after running through their own routines. And then this culminates in a meeting on Sunday night. So that's where Sensor comes from, Sunday night stock review. And typically we run down all the stocks in that list, but we do a more detailed review of the top 10. So these were the top 10 that week. And then from that review, basically handpick the strongest for potential buy list, and then we'll see how those do. And then they're also tracked in a model portfolio, which I'll talk about another time. So that's the background. And so let's go on next and take a look at the charts for these. And we want to look at basically from about the first week where this list was derived from. This was the first full week from January through to, say, the first 6 months, which will be to the end of June. Okay, so I'm switching the presentation mode to charting software. And so here we have the stocks itemized. And then over here, this is the percentage move from basically that first week through to the end of June. Actually, yeah. Actually, it's from the beginning of the year. So beginning of the year, so this is the first 6 months, and then we can see what that looked like. But what we're more interested in is how did this list fare in terms of the opportunities? So that's what we're looking for. We're always looking for 1 or 2 opportunities on a weekly basis to see well, if we can go into a buy list and if there's room in people's portfolios, because ultimately it's about driving the portfolio and driving the portfolio to drive returns. So let's run down this list, and we can see that starting with SMCI. So here's the beginning of the year, and we're going to focus in on from about that first week through to the June period down here. And that's what these returns are looking like. Okay, so this was kind of in a long consolidation period, and we can see that there was an opportunity as it kind of comes out of this level. So what I've done is I've also, just to make this process easier, I've put the buy points in at the time, which is 95.32, and then I've drawn a line across the chart. So this is what we were looking to see if the stock traded above this on momentum, and then it gave us an opportunity. So here we see SMCI gets above this, and then that was your entry point. And from the entry point, basically it was pretty much a straight run through to the end of June. And you can see right through to about here. That's more than a double right there, just in that space. So we're going to ignore everything that happened July because we're just focused on the first half of the year. So this was clearly one that would have gotten you in at the beginning of the year, and one that you could have stayed in with for a handsome return. So this was definitely a keeper. Moving on to XOM. XOM did get you in, but it would have shaken you out pretty easily. And then there was an opportunity to repurchase here, but it didn't survive. So this was too choppy. You didn't really make any headway, and for most of the year, it spent its time below the pivot. So chances are you wouldn't have played. And also XOM, despite the run in energy, we can see that the relative strength has been weak as well. So probably would not have made that trade. Next up is Amcor. Amcor had a little run to get both its buy point, didn't survive too long, and this would have shaken you out. Just weak momentum, kept coming down. Then moving on to GMAP. This one never took the pivot out. HAL did take out briefly the pivot, but again, weakness straight after doing that, and then you would have been shaken out of that one pretty quickly. In mode kind of finally did take its pivot out back here, but quick reversal and a gap down would have knocked you back out. So you would have been shaken out of this one pretty easy. At P back in, there was an entry back here, but you would have been shaken out pretty quickly. And then stock did bottom out in March and decided to work its way back up. Finally retook his pivot back here, but towards the end of June. It is currently had a nice little run after that. MOD got above its pivot in January. So you could have gone into this one. There was a bad day here, one day that, but you could have navigated that, and there's a potential double-digit gain. But again, stock was not super strong. It made quite a run towards the end of May through this period as it took out the original pivot. Since then, it had quite the run. But from here to there, stock languished. So it is worth keeping an eye on past stocks, just as a kind of a running list where you can see, because sometimes these stocks will take some time, could go months, they could go quiet and then they just wake up, take off like MOD did. So this is so tend to keep like a 4 to 6 month running list of prior picks, and you're watching for opportunities like this. Also, like if we go back to MedP, the prior stock, yeah, same thing, takes off, gaps up here, would have alerted you that this was strengthening, and then consolidation here as it comes out of this consolidation move, and then you go volume move here, and you kind of had an opportunity to get in. Moving on, Hendrix never took the pivot out, so would not really traded this. It's been weak all through the run. And then Schlumberger did get above his pivot, but quickly sold off, spent most of its time under the pivot. Started to show some consolidation and accumulation back here way under the pivot. Does then start to move above this consolidation. So that would have alerted you from the running list review that this stock may be making a move. So all in all, most of the stocks from that first week, remember the time period, it's the first full week in January. Stock market was very weak at that time, but you did pick out SMCI for sure. And we're looking for just 1 or 2 strong stocks each week that could go to a buy list, and this certainly was the winning opportunity from that week. And as it's turned out, this has been one of the other super stocks of this rally, and certainly in the first 6 months of the year. So that's SNSR-B, and so that wraps it up for this brief video on that list. And if you enjoyed this, please do subscribe if you're not subscribed. If you are, thank you for subscribing. Please like, share with friends. And thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I will see you on the next video soon. Thank you. Bye.